was 16 when this happened, sometime during the summer of 2011. My parents had gone to a friend's anniversary party about an hour away, and my older brother was sleeping over at his friend's house. For the first time ever, I had the entire house to myself for the night. At first, I loved it. I made frozen pizza, turned on the TV in the living room, and stayed up way later than I normally would. Outside, it had been raining for hours. Not a thunderstorm, just one of those heavy, steady rains that makes the whole neighborhood feel empty. Every now and then, headlights would pass by the front windows and briefly light up the room before disappearing again. Our dog Daisy, a golden retriever who was usually calm about everything, had been sleeping beside the couch while I watched videos on my laptop. A little after midnight, she suddenly lifted her head. At first, I didn't think much of it. Dogs react to random sounds all the time. But then she stood up slowly and stared toward the kitchen. Not barking, just staring.
I remember getting this weird feeling in my stomach immediately, even though nothing had happened yet. Daisy's ears were perked up, and her body had gone stiff, like she was listening carefully to something. Then she growled. It wasn't loud, but it was deep enough to make me mute the TV. I sat there, listening. The house was completely quiet, except for the rain hitting the windows. Then I heard it. A small metallic sound from the back of the house, like someone touching the back door handle. I actually laughed nervously at first, because my brain immediately tried to explain it away. Maybe the wind moved something outside. Maybe Daisy heard an animal near the trash cans. But then the sound happened again. This time I knew exactly what it was. Someone was slowly trying the back door.
Daisy exploded into barking and sprinted toward the kitchen. I jumped off the couch so fast I almost dropped my phone. From the living room, I could barely see part of the kitchen, but I could hear the back door rattling softly. Whoever was outside wasn't knocking or calling out. They were being quiet. That was the part that scared me most. I crept toward the hallway and peeked around the corner. The back door handle moved again, slowly. My chest instantly tightened. I backed away and locked the front door, even though it was already locked. I don't know why I did that. Panic makes you do stupid things. Daisy kept barking non-stop at the kitchen door, her paws sliding against the hardwood floor every time she lunged forward. I grabbed my phone and called my mom. The second she answered, I started whispering that someone was outside trying to get in. I could hear loud music and people talking in the background. But the moment she realized I was serious, her voice completely changed. She told me to lock myself somewhere safe and call 911 immediately. Right after I hung up, I heard something that made my entire body go cold. A loud creak upstairs. I froze. Then another one. Slow footsteps. At first my brain couldn't even process it because I knew every door downstairs was locked. But someone was definitely upstairs walking around. Slowly. I remember standing there in complete shock while Daisy barked hysterically near the kitchen. Somehow that was worse, because it meant there could have been more than one person. I ran into the downstairs bathroom beside the laundry room and locked the door behind me. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone trying to dial 911. While I whispered to the operator, I could still hear movement upstairs. Floorboards creaking. A bedroom door opening. Then silence. The operator kept asking questions, but I barely remember answering them because I was focused on every sound in the house. Then I heard something else. The basement door. basement door had this awful squeaking hinge that my dad always said he was going to fix but never did. I heard that exact squeak somewhere out in the hallway, followed by slow footsteps heading downstairs. Closer to me. Daisy suddenly stopped barking.
That scared me more than anything. The entire house went completely silent for a few seconds before I heard movement right outside the bathroom. Not footsteps. Breathing. I swear to God, someone was standing outside the door breathing. I held my hand over my mouth because I was terrified they'd hear me. Then Daisy started growling again, louder than before. And I heard someone whisper softly to her, "Hey girl, easy." I felt physically sick hearing that. The operator must have heard it too because her voice suddenly got urgent. She told me officers were outside. A second later, red and blue lights flashed through the tiny bathroom window. I heard car doors slam and people yelling outside. Then, running footsteps through the house. Someone shouted, "Police!" Everything after that happened fast. More yelling, doors opening upstairs, Daisy barking again. Then finally, a knock at the bathroom door, followed by an officer telling me it was safe to come out. When I stepped into the hallway, my legs honestly felt weak. The whole house smelled like wet dirt and rainwater. My parents arrived about 10 minutes later, looking completely terrified. I remember my mom hugging me so hard it actually hurt. At first, police thought someone had broken in randomly. But then one of the officers found a flashlight and a baseball cap near the basement stairs. My dad picked up the hat and immediately went pale. It belonged to our neighbor Ron. Ron lived a few houses down from us and had always been kind of strange. He was one of those people who acted overly friendly in a way that made you uncomfortable. Whenever my parents weren't around, he'd always stop to talk to me if I was outside. A few times, he'd made comments about how grown up I looked lately. Nothing openly horrible, but enough to make my skin crawl. Police went to his house that same night. At first, he denied everything. Then they found muddy footprints behind his backyard, leading through the woods directly to our property. Eventually, he admitted he'd gone into our house. His excuse was that he wanted to make sure I wasn't scared home alone during the storm. But he had entered through an unlocked basement window and never once announced himself. The worst part came later. Police found multiple pictures of me on his phone. Photos taken from outside our house over several weeks without me knowing. After that night, my parents installed security cameras everywhere. Ron moved away less than 2 months later. I'm 29 now, and honestly, I still think about that night more than I'd like to admit. Sometimes when I'm home alone and hear a floorboard creak somewhere in the house, I instantly get transported back to that bathroom, sitting on the cold tile floor, listening to someone breathing right outside the door while the rain hammered against the windows.